Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Barakahak Wadash, Barakatum. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, glory, and infinite honors to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the apostles and elders, the great millstone who rule and teach well. In peace and salutations to you sincere Akim out there, pushing this word in truth and sincerity to the four corners of the globe. May you brothers endure until the end. Shabbat Shalom. This is the brother Ra'aya coming at you with another lesson, and I'll be reading from an article on the JerusalemPost.com titled Likud Minister Calls for Civil War to Defeat Left. And the Likud is a far-right conservative political party over in the Holy Land right now, amongst a whole host of political parties over there, which just completely goes against what the true children of Israel would be doing or going through when they were back in the Holy Land. Which brings me to Micah chapter 4. I'm going to read verses 1 to 3. But in the last days it shall come to pass that the mountain of the house of Yahweh shall be established in the top of the mountains. And in the scriptures, mountains can be symbolic for governments. So, the mountain of the house of Yahweh is the kingdom of Israel, the true kingdom of Yasharallah being set up. And it shall be exalted above the hills, and people shall flow unto it. In that time, all the heathen nations, will flow unto the mountain or the government of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai, to the children of Israel. And as it's about to say, and many nations, many heathen nations shall come and say, come and let us go up to the mountain of Yahweh and to the house of the power of Jacob, and he will teach us of his ways, and we will walk in his paths. For the law shall go forth of Zion, and the word of Yahweh from Jerusalem. So, when the true children of Israel are back in the Holy Land, the heathen nations would flow unto him and what? Learn after the ways of the Israelites, which is the laws, statutes, and commandments contained in the scriptures. And the law would go forth of Zion, and the word of Yahweh from Jerusalem. And when we look at those people over in the land right now, which say they are the people of the book, do you see these different nations of people wanting to learn after their ways? Wanting to follow the Talmud, which has nothing to do with the scriptures, where the yarmulke on their head or the Shirley Temple curls or speak Yiddish? No. People right now, and it's growing more and more with each passing day, are turning against those people over in the Holy Land right now due to what they're doing to those Palestinian Arabs or Ishmaelites. And you've got Tel Aviv, which is known as a Pink City over there, and it's the number one pride or one of the number one pride or alphabet hotspots on the face of the earth. And as I said at the beginning of the video, you've got the Likud party, which is just one of many political parties over in the Holy Land right now, which when the true children of Israel are back in the land and the law is established, there won't be multiple parties, a parliament, or laws or voting that's separate from the scriptures. So with all that being the case, what should that tell you? That those people over there right now are not the children of the Most High, which they are not. They are actually Edomites, or so-called white people as they're known today, specifically of the tribe of Amalek. And while they don't fit anything dealing with what the true children of Israel, which the true children of Israel are known as the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans today, and then you have the Israelite foreigners who look like these heathen nations because they've been scattered amongst them, while those Amalekite Edomites don't fit anything dealing with what the true children of the Most High would be doing when they were back in the Holy Land. They do fit what the Edomites would be doing, according to scriptures, in regards to the Holy Land. This is Ezekiel chapter 36, verse 5. Therefore, thus saith the Lord Yahweh, surely in the fire of my jealousy have I spoken against the residue of the heathen and against all Idumea, which is the Greek way of saying Edom, which have appointed my land into their possession, laying the groundwork with the Balfour Declaration after World War I, and then further sealing the deal with the Israeli Declaration of Independence, with the help of the U.S. and the UN after World War II, with the spiteful minds to cast it out for a prey. Hence why, that their government over there follows after the Western model of what? Voting, political parties, parliament, a so-called democracy, etc., etc. Everything clean contrary to what is in the scriptures and what is supposed to be pushed and followed by the children of Israel. And not just that, but again, as the title of the article said, Likud minister calls for civil war to defeat left, talking about straight political violence. Minister Amsalam suggests civil war may be needed to defeat the left, while opposition leader Lapid warns of a criminal government. Regional Cooperation Minister Dudi Amsalam called for a civil war to defeat the left that doesn't accept our position in an interview with Khan News on Wednesday. He added that while the thought of a civil war troubled him, so when he's talking about a civil war and the idea of it troubling him, it doesn't sound like he's talking about a civil war of words, but what? A civil war of violence. The left and its people don't accept the legitimacy of the Likud government. Now let's go back to Micah chapter 4, verse 3, because another thing that would be taking place once the true children of Israel were back in the Holy Land is that war would no longer be taking place in the land, in the world. And he shall judge among many people and rebuke strong nations afar off. And they shall beat their swords into plowshares and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation shall not lift up a sword against nation, neither shall they learn war anymore. So what? No wars amongst the different heathens, and especially no wars amongst the children of Israel. And when we look at those Amalekite Edomites, immediately when they got into the land, what took place? You had the Arab-Israeli War in 1949. Then in the 1960s, you had the 6 Days War, among various wars that took place, around that time and all the way up until the present. What? You've got that war in Ukraine. You've got the Gaza War, and World War III hasn't even taken place yet. So clearly, those Amalekite Edomites don't fit the script when it comes to the people of the book, but they do fit the script when it comes to the imposters who have appointed that land into their possession. And as it further says in Revelation chapter 2, verse 9, I know thy poverty and thy tribulations, though thou art rich. Because what? You so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans who are the true children of Israel, hey, even though we're in this low position, we're eventually and very soon going to be put back on top. And the lies and the blasphemies of them which say they are Jews and are not, but are the synagogue of Satan, the small hats, the 1948ers. In a recent interview with Israel Radio, Amsalam stated that to save democracy, we must clash and come head to head. And, the laws of the Most High have nothing to do with a goddamn democracy. And as we just read Micah 4, verse 3, nations wouldn't learn war against each other anymore. According to Amsalam, the civil war began when opposition leader MK Yair Lapid threatened to coordinate an organized tax resistance last week. Lapid's statement at last week's protest: if the October 7th government decides to disregard a Supreme Court ruling, it would become a criminal government. The Yesh Atid leader told thousands in attendance in Tel Aviv, "We will not be extras in Prime Minister Benjamin Milkowski's," which is his true name, "crazy theater," Lapid said at Habima Theater Square on Saturday evening. This government is doing everything it can to ignite a civil war, and Netanyahu Milkowski is openly pushing for it. We will not let this happen. We will fight for the country, but we will not let them destroy it, Lapid added. So, that's it with this article. So, again, this is just another example showing that you Amalekite Edomites, you 1948ers, just don't have it, and you're going to continue to get exposed out here by the truth, chiefly from the prophets of Yahweh Bahashem Yahawashi, over here at GMS or Great Millstone, as well as the brothers coming in the spirit, of GMS. And then, you've got these other camps out here that are, even though they don't have 100% truth, they're saying that you just don't fit the script when it comes to prophecy. And another thing, when the true children of Israel would be back in the Holy Land, they would be at peace with each other. And, when they're back in the Holy Land, that means Yahawashi, the Son of the Most High, whom the world ignorantly refers to as so-called Jesus, has returned, which means what? We are under the new covenant. And under the new covenant, Salakia, all Israel will be at peace and have the laws, statutes, and commandments in them. This is Hebrews chapter 8. I'm going to start at verse 7, and the header reads, "The new covenant, the true new covenant." For if that first covenant had been faultless, then should no place have been sought for the second. Because under the first covenant, we weren't able to keep it. Hence, why what? We constantly went into these captivities under the heathens. But with Yahawashi's sacrifice, he opened up that grace period, first to the elect of the nation of Israel, and what? Ultimately salvation to the rest of the nation. And when Yahawashi makes his second coming to, save his elect, then what? The new covenant will be established. For finding fault with them, he saith, "Behold, the days come, saith the Lord, when I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel," the northern kingdom, or you so-called Latinos and Native Americans, "and with the house of Judah," the southern kingdom, the so-called Negroes, so-called black, African American, Haitians, West Indians, etc., etc., "not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in the day when I took them by the hand to lead them out of the land of Egypt, because they continued not in my covenant, and I regarded them not, saith the Lord. For this is the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel after those days, saith the Lord. I will put my laws into their mind and write them in their hearts, and I will be to them a power, and they shall be to me a people." Verse 11, "And they shall not teach every man his neighbor, and every man his brother, saying, Know the Lord, for all shall know thee, from the least to the greatest." So the new covenant will be established, where the laws, statutes, and commandments are going to be in us, internally, in our spirit. And what? We will have those new spiritual bodies to where we won't even think about going off. We will be incapable of going off. Hence why we will be able to exact the laws, statutes, and commandments onto the rest of the nations. And why, they will flow unto us to learn of our ways, and the law shall go forth of Zion. And the laws, statutes, and commandments, again, don't include a Supreme Court, a parliament, a Likud party or anything like that. No goddamn democracy. Verse 11, and they shall not teach every man his neighbor and every man his brother, saying, know the Lord, for all shall know me, from the least to the greatest. The entire nation of Israel will be in harmony with each other, so there won't be talks of a civil war. But now I'm going to close it out. In Ezekiel chapter 37, I'm going to read verses 19 to 25. Say unto them, thus saith the Lord Yahweh, behold, I will take the stick of Joseph, which is in the hand of Ephraim, and the tribes of Israel, his fellows, speaking of the northern kingdom, which Ephraim, the so-called Puerto Ricans, are the head tribe of the northern kingdom. And, Ephraim can just be a catch-all term for the northern kingdom. And I will put them with him, even with the stick of Judah, the head of the southern kingdom, and make them one stick, and they shall be one in mine hand. And when you read a couple of verses up, really this whole chapter, it deals with what? The valley of the dry bones, and the spirit of life being breathed into them, and the flesh and the skin coming upon them, and ultimately the elect coming back to their identity of being Israelites. And then it talks about them having a stick and writing Ephraim and Judah on it and putting it together, which is what? All 12 tribes. Hence why when you see the men of the Lord out on the highways and byways, they have the 12 tribe sign that is symbolic for that stick. And we have not seen these Amalekite Edomites do that. Even now, they do not do that. When you ask them about the 12 tribes, they'll say, Judah, Levi, and Ephraim, he's across the what do they say? He's across the Nile River or something. They just don't have the juice. Verse 20, and the sticks whereon thou writest shall be in thine hand before their eyes, and say unto them, thus saith the Lord Yahweh, behold, I will take the children of Israel from among the heathen, not the Balfour Declaration or a Declaration of Independence or help from the United States of America or the UN, whither they be gone, and I will gather them on every side and bring them into their own land, children of Israel, back in the Holy Land. And I will make them one nation in the land upon the mountains of Israel, and one king shall be king to them all, and they shall be no more two nations, neither shall they be divided into two kingdoms any more at all. So if those 1948ers were the people, they could tell you who all the 12 tribes were. The 12 tribes would be there, and there wouldn't be a talk of civil war. And not just that, but as it says, one king shall be king to them all, not a prime minister. Neither shall they defile themselves any more with their idols. Tel Aviv being Pink City, a vast majority of those Amalekite Edomites, being atheists, having kosher pork over there, running the corn industry or Hollywood, nor with their detestable things, nor with any of their transgressions. But I will save them out of all their dwelling places wherein they have sinned, and will cleanse them. So shall they be my people, and I will be their power, and I will give them that fleshy heart to replace that stony heart, the new covenant with the laws, statutes, and commandments in us. And David, my servant, shall be king over them. So, when the true children of Israel are back in the Holy Land, that one king over them would be King David, who is the head of the elect, who is underneath Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai, the actual King David. And, we clearly see that King David is not back over there. And the Iron Dome or David's slingshot missile defense system does not count. And they shall all have one shepherd. They shall also walk in my judgments and observe my statutes and do them. And they shall dwell in the land that I have given unto Jacob my servant, wherein your fathers have dwelt, and they shall dwell therein, even they and their children, and their children's children forever. And my servant David shall be their prince forever, not getting voted out, and another king being set up, because you've got multiple parties vying for control of the parliament. But that's it with this video. I hope you sincere, Akim and Akwath, were edified. Just keep strong. We are almost out of this final wicked captivity of the heathen nations, chiefly of the Edomites. And as always, I'm going to say Abad Babol, Kwam Yasharallah, and until next time, Shalom.